Welcome to the latest episode of Beatin' and Bangin'. I'm your host, Kyle Dalton. As I mentioned in the last video, I was heading up to Texas Motor Speedway for the races this weekend. So let's not waste any time and get straight into the weekend's worth of racing activities. Saturday for media members is always an important part of the weekend because it allows us to meet with the Cup drivers, ask questions, and get content for the stories we're working on. It's always interesting during the regular season because we get a chance to interview the top 30 drivers in points. That means the drivers show up in shifts around practice and qualifying, and typically 3 or 4 drivers will show up around the same time. And you're forced to decide who you want to talk to first. Unfortunately, in that hectic scenario, you might not get to ask a driver or two some questions. However, the playoffs are different, and especially now, with only 12 drivers remaining. On Saturday, we had Ryan Blaney, William Byron, and Kyle Busch start the day by coming in for their individual press conferences. These are the ones that you see a driver sitting up at the podium answering questions. After Denny Hamlin's comments at Bristol the week before, and really leaning into playing the villain, I thought it was a good time to talk with Kyle Busch about Hamlin and his new role, and more specifically, what it's been like for him in this first season at Richard Childress Racing not being the villain, and hearing cheers instead of jeers. His response was quite interesting.
He boos.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm sure I can put myself right back into that category real easy. You know, it only takes something spectacular to do. But I mean, it's different, right? I don't know that I've ever been in this spot because when I first came into this sport and was here and getting in, my brother had made a lot of enemies both on and off the racetrack, and so I was kind of thrown into that right off the bat. But you know, it's been good to just kind of get a different light, or be in a different light, and you know, it's been fun over at RCR, and a lot of people have just kind of told me how much excitement there is around that, and me being a part of the 8 car and with RCR and everybody over there. So yeah, just keep rolling with it. You know, when you're in that spot like I was, and I guess Denny is, you got to do what Denny's doing. I mean, it's perfect. You got to play with it and just go with it and roll with it and egg them on. I mean, I did it. I can't tell. There were so many quotes in the years past when I was talking about Junior Nation and other stuff, you know, and trust me, you're never going to win those battles. They're hard to win, but it's still like, I guess it makes you feel better inside. It makes you feel bigger to say stuff like that, but it's fun to watch.
After Busch's press conference, it was the individual drivers coming into the media center for sessions with reporters. There were plenty of interesting comments throughout the interviews. A couple in particular stuck out to me, starting with Bubba Wallace as he was asked about the possibility of him making it to the Final Four without any wins or playoff points thus far.
You gotta work your tail off. Always seems like you gotta come up from behind. So we are, you know, every chance we've had, every chance I've had to win a stage and get playoff points, I've choked. And restarts are second to none compared to anybody else. And so it's frustrating that I haven't gotten our team playoff points, but it is what it is, and we just gotta work really hard. We gotta, you know, execute throughout all the stages and see what happens and where we end up. But all in all, it's not going to be, you know, done without a fight.
Remember, those comments about choking and being so good at restarts were made before his qualifying session on Saturday. We'll circle back to Mr. Wallace a bit later. Wallace's boss, 2311 Racing co-owner Denny Hamlin, was asked in his session about Texas Motor Speedway and its future and what changes might make it better.
I mean, it's interesting because, you know, 1.5 miles really is what Next Gen's really excelling at, except for this track. I think this track just, when they put the chemicals down on the track, it really just hurt the surface. And I'm wondering if there's not some sort of agent that they can put down to eat off that old stuff that, you know, essentially has kind of ruined one lane of the track. You would think that there's something out there that can, you know, a PJ1 degreaser that can get rid of the stuff on the racetrack, because it certainly if this track was multi-lane, you would see fantastic racing like we have at all the other mile and a halves. But you know, it's just SMI really kind of reconfigured it, and we put down stuff at the same time, and it just really hurt this racing at this track. And you know, so it's searching for its happy place for sure.
After practice and qualifying, the rest of the Cup Series playoff drivers made their way into the media center. During Martin Truex Jr.'s visit, he was asked how he was doing following the passing of longtime partner Sherry Pollux.
I'm sorry.
How are you doing?
I'm okay.
Do you have any additional comment on Sherry?
No, I'll talk about that right now.
During Kyle Larson's visit, he was asked a unique question about his thoughts on Kevin Harvick in his final season. The HMS driver offered some interesting remarks on the Stewart-Haas racing driver and his influence on him on and off the track.
Yeah, I mean, he's an extremely fierce competitor, great ambassador for the sport, somebody who I've really enjoyed racing with, and I feel like earning his respect over time. I think it takes people a long time to earn his respect, and I feel like I have his respect, which is good. So, yeah, just, you know, I mean, he's had one of the best careers, I think, you know, in NASCAR, and I've been fortunate enough to have some great battles with him and compete with him, you know, for 9 or 10 years now, and it's been fun to kind of see him progress as a, you know, person, I think, through having children, and where he was before children to where he is, you know, now, pretty level-headed and all that. So you've seen him grow a lot. You know, me, I mean, it's weird being 31 talking about, you know, somebody older than me growing, but like I've paid attention to his career a lot. So I think he's just a great race car driver, but a better person and an even better parent. So I try to, you know, model my parenting, I guess, off of what I feel like he would be like and all that. So yeah, just a great guy.
Finally, the last interview of the day was with Brad Keslowski. I asked the RFK co-owner if he could have ever imagined that his organization would be this successful so soon after his move, with both cars in the round of 12 this year.
So that's why we came here, was to do this. And you know, a year ago, it's funny how the rhetoric changes. A year ago, you know, I was the idiot that, you know, left a team that was finished 5th or 6th in points the last few years and had a shot to win races and championships to, you know, I think I finished 28th in points. And now this year I'm the hero, or whatever you want to call it. And it's kind of like you're never as good and you're never as bad as whatever people might be saying about you. And so, you know, as I would have told people last year when I looked like, you know, maybe not so smart person, things are better than you think they are. And then I would say right now, you know, we've got to keep it calm and not get too into our own press clippings at the moment. So, you know, we're just trying to enjoy the ride. Nothing's given, everything's earned. We have a lot of work left in front of us, but I'm excited about the group of people we have. There's some really good people in this company and on these teams, and we can do a lot of damage.
After Bubba Wallace won the pole, he came in for his required visit with the media, and then a little over 24 hours later, I made my way down to the grid for some photos and videos of the cars before making my way to the stage for driver introductions. I wanted to measure the level of boos between 3 drivers, Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, and Bubba Wallace. I'll let you be the judge of who you think received the loudest response.
Denny Hamlin!
Finally, after much anticipation, it was time for the race. Now, I know it was hot, and to all the fans who turned out, and there were a lot of them, kudos to you, nice job. But being fully transparent, Media members are very fortunate to have an air-conditioned media center, and that's where all of us watch the race, with TVs hanging all around the room and certain screens showing NASCAR's timing and scoring. However, that all changes when there's an accident, and Kyle Busch was the first of the day. I left immediately after he started backing down the track and arrived at his pit stall soon after he backed into it. His pit crew feverishly worked to get his car repaired, and it was fascinating to see RCR VP of Competition, Andy Petrie, sweating it out. Eventually, the damage was just too much, and the number 8 car went to the garage. And that's when things always get challenging at Texas, driver interviews after crashes. As you're about to hear, it's beyond loud because the infield care center is located right at the start of pit road. To show you just how loud, I've included just a small version of my video of Kyle Busch's interview just because I don't want your ears to bleed, along with the dubbed-in version I captured from Sirius XM NASCAR Radio, where Claire B. Lang had a microphone right near Busch. Take a listen.
Off the pit road with new tires after the green flag cycle, and everything was really good.
Honestly, I didn't go back down for any driver interviews after crashes just because I knew it would be pointless. After the race, again, it's kind of a free-for-all to get to a driver and ask whatever questions you can. I caught up with several drivers, including Denny Hamlin, and asked him if his opinion of the track had changed after the race. So what do we do now?
Yeah, it's just a tough track. I mean, you know, when SMI reconfigured this thing, it just swung and missed on it for sure. And so, you know, I don't know what you do with it. You know, the next gen car is really great on all other mile and a halves. It's just this one is very tough. There's just no tire fall off. You know, I did the tire test, but you know, Goodyear is always going to choose the most durable tire they can to not blow out. And when you have that, you're not going to have any fall off, and then you're going to have guys with old tires go out there and win. So it's just, passing is very, very difficult. It's hard because all the cars run the same speed. Tires never fall off, and it's what we got.
Interestingly, I also caught up with Brad Keslowski and asked him the same question about the overall racing product at Texas, and he had a very different answer.
You know, I don't know, I'm not sure it was broken. I thought there was a heck of a battle there at the end for the win, and the lead swapped hands 2 or 3 times from what I could tell, and I honestly thought it was a pretty good race today. Not as good a race as we wanted to have with our car. You know, we had a 7th place finish, and we wanted to be able to win today, but wasn't quite in the car. So there's some more work to do there, but I thought the race and the racetrack was pretty racy today.
I also caught up with Christopher Bell, who finished 4th, and asked him about another race where his pit crew, which was swapped over from Ty Gibbs at the start of the postseason, had a bad stop. That's the 3rd time in 4 races where pit road has been problematic.
I mean, that's not my department. My department is to produce the best lap time that I can under green flag conditions, and I don't know, unfortunately I did a bad job of that today. We were pretty slow, so I'm sure that the pit crew is going to work as hard as they can to get better, and I got to work as hard as I can to get better too.
You can totally sense Bell's understandable frustration. And finally, back to Bubba Wallace. Remember early in the video when he talked before qualifying about being good on restarts and choking? Here's what he had to say after the race.
Can't have the worst restarts when you're the best restarter. And that's what happened. When the time mattered, I'm booing myself too, so we're good. I'm one of y'all today. Just stayed it for my team. Stayed it for sponsors, and just, you know, they put so much effort into giving me the best race cars to go out and win races, and giving it up like that is heartbreaking for sure, devastating.
Not sure if you noticed, but at one point you can hear booing in the background, and then Wallace talks about booing himself and being one of them. While he was talking with reporters, I turned and looked behind me at the giant TV screen on the backstretch as it showed him being interviewed. He was agreeing with the fans and booing himself for his performance at the end of the race. Wallace, as has been well documented, suffers from anxiety and depression. He's often very hard on himself. That was no different on Sunday. But to be honest, it was one of his best Cup Series weekends, including his second ever pole, leading a career best 111 laps and finishing third. He also moved up in the point standings to just below the cut line. To cap off the weekend, it was a big achievement for Hendrick Motorsports, with William Byron capturing win 300 for the organization. Mr. H and Willie B were understandably happy in the media center. After their interviews, I packed up my equipment and headed out for my 3-hour drive home, which included a spectacular light show provided by Mother Nature. Looking back on it, I'm very thankful each time I get to attend a race as a NASCAR reporter. I'm blessed with the opportunity to visit with the drivers both before and after the race and cover this great sport. In addition, I enjoy bringing you, the fans, a little bit of that experience. I'm hopeful to do it more in 2024. To wrap up the weekend at Texas, I've included a slideshow that includes what I think are some highlight moments from the weekend. Hope you enjoy it, and as always, thank you for checking out the latest video, and have a great rest of your day.